from there. Great game. 50 seconds to go. Hurts. Deep shot. Hauled in. Devontae.
Sure. And before the press conferences even start. I mean, we could talk for 45 minutes just about how atrocious the defense is.
Doing? He's just picking the big guys. Jordan Mailata, he's huge. He'll be good later on. Josh Sweat, he's tall as hell and strong. Let's get him. We'll figure him out. It's working.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media. As always, we're live. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know it. You know the drill. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up. Turn notifications on. Share it out on Facebook. Retweet it on Twitter. You know the deal. I don't know what the deal is on Twitch. I don't know how you share it out on Twitch. I don't even know what the thing's sharing it out on Twitch. We are brought to you by Manscaped. Use promo code TRENDING at checkout. TRENDING. I forgot to put the banner at the bottom of the screen here. Here we go. I don't even know if that's the most recent one. It is. There we go. We're a little late getting set up here this morning, but trending at checkout at manscaped.com. Get the products and the male grooming products that your significant other or yourself. You don't have to buy it for somebody else. You can buy it for yourself. Support us podcasters by supporting our sponsors. Promo code TRENDING, 20% off and free shipping. That's the deal. Get it done. That's Jeremy. I'm Phil. We are your hosts every single morning, 8:30 a.m. here on DSM Media. And before we get started, we do have to obviously shout out what today. I mean, I've talked a couple times about today is National Whatever Day. Today is Veterans Day.
Yeah.
So we definitely need to give a shout out to all the veterans out there that have served our country, done things that Jeremy and I would never be capable of doing.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure that we give a special salute to all of them because, you know, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here without the service and sacrifices that they make.
Of course.
I don't know about you, Jeremy. I mean, my father was in the Coast Guards. I don't really have any other, family members that are veterans, but I have a lot of close friends. Good friend of mine. He watches a lot of our shows, Kyle. I mean, he's a Marine Corps veteran, spent some time overseas. A couple of my former employees have been overseas and stuff like that. So, special shout out to Kyle, Joe, John, anybody out there that I know. But there's also a lot of veterans that are in sports and that have played sports too. So,
yeah,
in the sports world, there's a lot of them out there. So very special salute to you all. And
yes.
Hopefully you enjoy your day. I mean, like I said, all the restaurants out there, they're all giving you specials today. Take advantage of them. It's a special way for restaurants to say thank you. I know we're giving out at my shop. We're giving free pizza to all veterans today. So,
you
make
guys
sure
all deserve it.
I'm sorry?
I said you guys all deserve it. So
yeah, absolutely. 100%. Anyway, we don't have a super, super long show. We got a few things to talk about today. The great thing about morning shows, sometimes the topics will change. We're going to talk Eagles Broncos a little bit. We're going to preview the Sixers Raptors game tonight before the big long road trip. I've got a little fun to have with superstar agent Scott Boras, and that's pretty much for the day today. But let's talk Eagles Broncos because tomorrow we have Coach Michael Coleman, the head coach of the Wyoming Mustangs, coming on. So most of the show will be interviewing him and coaching and getting strategy and theory from him. So this is our last chance to really dive deep into Eagles-Broncos game. So, Jeremy, the Broncos, are one of the stronger run defenses in the league. Yes. They rank 9th right now after last week, stopping the run and stopping running backs. So we've obviously seen Nick Sirianni the last 2 weeks go to a run-heavy offense. Can the Eagles continue to do that this week against the Broncos? Or do you think that Nick Sirianni's got to change his game plan up a bit?
So it's definitely going to get changed a little bit. I still think he's going to try and run the ball. If he keeps on sticking with that, again, even if it's not too successful, we can still go out and it creates opportunity for the pass if we keep on running the ball. So hopefully he stays running and keeps on doing that. But he's definitely going to switch it out more. He's got to stop with the RPO stuff. Again, he still needs to stop doing that. It's not going to work. Of course, the Broncos don't have Von Miller, so that is very helpful that Von Miller is gone for this game. But yeah, the game plan is definitely good.
On a side note, they lost Von Miller last week, and they went up against Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard of Dallas. They still held them to 78 yards rushing.
Oh no,
Von Miller, while he's a great player, they still have a really good run defense even without him.
Yeah, they definitely still have a good defense, but Von Miller just only made it better. So
Definitely.
I'm just happy he's gone to make it at least a little bit better. But yeah, a really good defense, a really good head coach that is very defensive mindset. So that's going to be our biggest worry is their defense. And if we even get some decent rushing yards against them, it could be a lot closer of a game. But it's going to be tough. It's something. I think it's going to be harder than most people think. I think if you look at the Broncos' record, and I think they're a better team than their record. So I think it's going to be something to worry about.
Yeah. So I actually have a different theory about this whole thing. I don't think it's as necessary as people think it is to abandon the run game on Sunday against the Broncos.
Yeah.
This defense or this offense of the Eagles, the offensive line specifically, is built to run block. And we've talked about on this show and many other shows before. I'll go back to the game against Tampa Bay. At that point, Tampa Bay had not given up more than 75 yards rushing once all season. We put up 100 rushing yards against them. Okay. And not only that, we put up 54. We put up more yards in the second half alone of that game rushing. Once Nick Sirianni, that was the first little glimmer of hope that Nick Sirianni realized that running the ball works. Miles Sanders had 54 or 55 yards rushing in the second half alone. And all of a sudden we start to see a change. If you can rush for 50-some yards and a half against the best run defense in the league, you might be able to continue doing it against all defenses, no matter how stout they are. You just have to have a committed effort. So I still think, he's not going to be able to run the ball 65, 70% of the time like he has the last, couple of weeks against the Broncos.
Yeah, exactly.
But you could still run more than pass this week. You could still run 55% of the time, 58% of the time this week, instead of going 16, 15 passes for Jalen Hurts, maybe up them to 20 passes.
Yeah.
I still think that's the game plan that Nick Sirianni needs to focus on because, again, Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, Kelsey, Dickerson. I think Dickerson's grading out the last 2 weeks as the best run blocker in the NFL or one of the top 2 or 3. This line is built to run block. And even Jack Driscoll, is playing really well in his reserve roles right now. So I don't think that the game plan needs to be abandoned just because the Broncos are a good run defense.
See, I don't think it needs to either, but that's something about Nick Sirianni when he loses, when the run game doesn't work just a couple times. If we don't get like pretty decent yardage in a couple rushes, he just abandons it and he goes back to that RPO stuff. And so I hope he sticks with the run game plan, but I know that if we come out and we just don't have a good drive and we don't get a lot of rushing yards and a couple attempts and the Broncos come out and score a touchdown, we're going to go on a drive and just rush it and run the ball once a drive and just try and put everything on Jalen Hurts. That's what Nick Sirianni has been known for earlier this year. We'll see how it is really against the Broncos, but
because honestly, when we think about it, the Broncos' pass defense is just as good as their run defense.
It is.
If you look at it, so I've got their yards per game broken down here on my screen. Last game against Dallas, I don't know what happened. I didn't watch the Dallas, Broncos game, but 212 yards passing, 78 yards rushing. Then Washington, 230. Cleveland, Baker Mayfield, 194 yards. Yes, the Raiders put up 340, but then Big Ben, 244. The Jets, 119. Jacksonville, 114. Yeah, they played some bad teams there along the way, but they're stout all around. So you're just going to need to commit to what you do well, which seems to be running the ball.
Yeah, they will, because they really do have some ballers on defense all over the field. Like they have Patrick Surtain over at the corner, and they didn't even need a corner. Like they have good corners over there. And some of them are banged up, but they're already better by now. So it's gonna be something to worry about. They stopped Dak Prescott. But what would you say? They held him to 220 yards or something like that. Dak Prescott is a guy that gets a lot of yards. That second touchdown they scored was in garbage time. So that game really should have been 30 to 8 or 30-9. That game should have been even more blown away, but it was in garbage time, and Dak Prescott they were playing soft coverage, just like our Eagles, and they just went down and scored. But so I wouldn't even really count that. So that defense played amazing against in my eyes, a top tier offense in the Cowboys. So we'll see again. they kind of had to abandon the run. They were down by a lot. When you're
Mhm.
down by 20 plus, you kind of have to abandon it.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Hopefully we don't let it get to that point. And
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to come down to running the ball, which it seems so simplistic to say this.
no, we've
Running
been
the
saying it
ball,
all
staying
year though.
committed, and instead of RPOs, play action pass.
Yeah.
Rolling out Jalen Hurts. And I know Coach Coleman, because when I was prepping with him the other day, brought it up. Why they're not, RPO versus play action and rolling out, letting, Devontae Smith, Jalen Rager, Quez Watkins, whoever it is, get downfield and let him get the ball downfield. Doing that kind of stuff. That's the way that the team is going to win this game.
Yeah.
On the other side of the ball, the Denver's offense, Teddy Bridgewater, you got Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, you got Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and a sleeper on who's a really good player on that team, Tim Patrick, their slot wide receiver. He's kind of like a Hunter Renfrow type, where that guy finds the open space in the zone, which is something that I think we do a little too much of. And we've talked about, he knows how to find that open space in the zone. And Teddy Bridgewater, he's a dinker and a dunker. I mean, his average completion percentage this year is 70% already. So for a team that's on pace to set the record, there's a chance that he might go 85% on Sunday.
Oh, I wouldn't be shocked at all. And they're gonna play exactly like how every other team played against us, but they already do it no matter who they're facing. So they're gonna do really well with it. They also have Noah Fant over there, their tight end. He's an absolute beast.
He just cleared COVID protocols too. So it seems like he will be active for Sunday.
Yeah, and kind of the Eagles' defense's weakness is them big guys, and Noah Fant
they are ranked
is
32nd,
huge.
the Eagles' defense, at stopping the tight end.
Look at that. Well, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun. I cannot wait for Davion Taylor to I can't wait for Derek Barnett to be on Noah Fant.
I
can't wait.
You got to get the right guy that's covering him there for
sure.
Yeah, no. So and the other thing with the Denver running, we're not the greatest at stopping the run. We've stopped the run from time to time. We've gotten better as the season gone along. But Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, they had, I think it was 38 rushes. I mean, let me double check. 21 rushes for Melvin Gordon. Javonte Williams, 17 rushes. Now, some of that is because they were ahead by so much. Yeah. But even going back the week before, they had 30 rushes. They definitely are a well-balanced offense, and they run the ball a lot. So, which run the ball, dinking and dunking controls the clock. And that's what they do well. And this defense has already shown a penchant for getting tired quickly when they're on the field so much. You saw it this past week against the Chargers. Time of possession battle in the Chargers' favor. The Denver Broncos are going to do the same exact thing. There is a game plan already written out by every single coach we've faced on how to beat the Eagles defense.
Yeah, and it's just gonna. I'm telling you, they're gonna do so well with this dink and dunk little thing. That's just Teddy Bridgewater's thing. He's been doing this for years and years and years. He's been a very decent quarterback at just middle of the pack. I wouldn't say he's a great quarterback, but he's really smart. He knows what he's doing. Doesn't have the best arm, and I really think he's just kind of gonna just pick apart our defense. Just pick apart everyone, and that complete percentage is gonna be crazy. Like you said, 80 to 85%.
What's his name? Derek Carr when he played, he was up there around 80%, wasn't he?
Yeah, there was a time. I know there was one time he was at 17 for 18 at one point, and it just kept on going. And I was like, this is just ridiculous. Like I don't. And Justin Herbert, he got his highest completion percentage of his career last week. It's just, it's frustrating. Frustration.
And then there's the other part of the whole scenario that we're going to Denver. I'm not sure when the last time the Eagles played in Denver, but we've got a lot of young guys on this team and old. We don't have any guys in the middle, like in the heart of their career. We got young guys that are not used to that thin air and the mild and the mile high city. We got a lot of older guys that get winded quicker.
Yeah,
so that is a factor in the game as well.
It is. Denver, all them guys are used to it, and our Eagles players definitely aren't over in Philly. So that also is definitely a factor. Home field advantage regardless, but especially in Denver, it's totally different. It's a whole different atmosphere. So again, another reason why it's just going to be tough. I don't think it's out of the picture. I don't think this is going to be, hey, Broncos, no matter what. I'm not saying that at all. I just think it's going to be pretty tough. Jalen Hurts is going to have his day, and hopefully Devontae Smith comes out and does his thing again.
All right. So keys to a victory this week. What would you had to pick one or two keys that the Eagles have to do absolutely to win this game? What would you say it is?
If you run the ball 20 plus times, I really think it's going to be a win. It doesn't have to be the most successful runs. I don't think we have to go out and rush for 150 yards and 30 rushes. I don't think it has to be all that. But I think if you have 20 plus designed run plays, not RPOs, I don't want to see that. If I see Jordan Howard and Boston Scott and Kenny G, I see all of them combined get 20 designed run plays, I think we're going to win this game. I think if we don't abandon the run, I think that is the major key to the game. Because, again, when they're going to pick apart our defense, like them little 5-yard passes, there's still times where we're still going to stop them because they're not going for the deep ball or anything. I think this is more going to depend on our offense. So I think if we run the ball that many times, 20 plus, I think it's a win.
Okay. All right. I think my two keys to the game, one of my keys to the victory, and I talked about it last night on Trending for 4 Quarters, is similar to the run, and that's time of possession. It's winning the time of possession battle. If you can win 35-25, 33-27, something like that, where your defense is getting a little bit more of a break than theirs, I think it's a big win. It's a big plus. Because again, like I said, the mile high thin air, the tiredness, the players not being used to that experience. I think that's a really, really big key. And the other key, which it's a tough key to have, because the Broncos don't turn the ball over much. The Eagles don't turn the ball over much either, but they also don't create many turnovers. I think whoever wins the turnover, even if it's just 1 turnover to 0, that's all it takes. 1 turnover to 0. If the Eagles get 1 and don't give up 1, that actually can make a difference. Because if you go back to Sunday's game against the Chargers, all the Eagles defense had to do, I'm actually going to expand it, win the turnover battle or win the sack battle. All the Eagles defense needed to do was get 1 turnover on that last drive or one of the last drives, or even sack Justin Herbert 1 time, on 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 9. All these plays where they were getting these 12-yard little, soft zone that they were finding and completing those passes. You get 1 turnover in that instant, 1 batted ball in that instant, 1 sack in those instants. Those little kind of keys, that's what's going to give us the victory. Because we know the Eagles' offense is not regularly capable against even average defenses of putting up 30-plus points. So what it's going to be a close, low-scoring game, which means the defense has to come up with 1 key play, whether it be a turnover, whether it be a sack. And my guest last night, John, brought up even batted balls. Can you even remember the last time a defensive lineman on the Eagles this year has batted a ball down the line of scrimmage? I'm like, honestly, I don't think they actually have.
I can't think of a moment this year.
Stat of batted balls, but if you can, I bet you the Eagles rank at the bottom of the barrel in the NFL on that.
You could probably look up pass deflections for our defensive linemen and stuff like that, but I can't remember a time that we've done.
Get your hands up. If you're not going to get home, get your hands up. That's all they teach you in football, and these guys don't do that. So it's something that I think needs to happen. Unfortunately, I said my prediction last night on the show. I'll say it again this morning for the people watching. I got the Broncos winning the game, unfortunately, 24-20. I guess John last night had 19-16, Broncos as well. We both agree that it could go either way. And if they could just get that 1 key moment on defense, 1 key turnover, 1 key sack, it could instantly flip to 24-20 Eagles or 19-16 Eagles. But the Eagles defense hasn't shown us the ability to create that 1 memorable moment. So that's why we both went Broncos with a close victory. I don't know. Where are you thinking at this moment? I know you still got some time till your Saturday show to make an official prediction, but are you
no.
anywhere near that?
No, I'm pretty much right around you. I had my prediction already written out for the past couple of days and hasn't really changed much. I do have Eagles winning. Again, I think it's gonna be a very close game, and I can flip flop so easily. I have Eagles 28, Broncos 24. I just said a little 4-point little thing. But again, I do think it could flip flop anyway. It really depends on how. If the Eagles start off strong, that's something that they've struggled with all year. They come in the 4th quarter, and that's when they start putting up numbers. It's like, if you guys start doing that earlier in the game, you make it so much easier on yourselves. I know that's easier said than done, obviously. Right. But that's something they need to focus on, is playing better the whole game, not just late. That's going to be a really big issue.
Absolutely agree with you on that. I mean, again, it could go either way. I think this game, not just the defense making a key play, but we know what this defense is. if they're going to make a key play, it's going to be one key play. It's not going to be like they create 4 turnovers or have 6 sacks against Teddy Bridgewater. That's just not what this defense is.
It's not going to be the Lions
game. I think this could be a game where Jalen Hurts shows more continued growth because he's going to have to pass the ball a little bit more. He's going to have to run that offense a little bit more. So, I mean, again, he's not going to throw for 320 yards against the Broncos, but another game where he controls the tempo, where he doesn't create turnovers on his side of the ball. You know, it's another game where I think because they stop the run so well, they cover cornerbacks so well, they cover tight ends so well, this is a game where Jalen Hurts, even if he only throws for 200 yards, can show more of who he is. If he completes a couple tight window throws, if he goes through his progressions a little bit better and finds the third wide receiver on a play. I really think this is a game that Jalen Hurts can put his imprint on.
So going off of that, do you think, is there a chance that we could get a morale victory? Like we lose, but you still feel kind of like you're not too upset because so this is the kind of game where you think that we can have one of those moments?
Absolutely. I think that if it wasn't for, I don't know. I even think that last week almost was a morale victory, at least for the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you see a lot. I mean, I don't believe in moral victories as much as other people do.
Right.
But a lot of people were talking, well, you saw a lot of progress with Nick Sirianni's play calling last week, a lot of progress with the offense. I think that you could see a lot of that this week. And being that it's on the road against the Broncos, you could definitely make the argument that a close, hard-fought victory, depending on how it goes down, it could happen. I think last week wasn't a morale victory because of the way it ended. The fact that the Chargers got the ball with 6-7 minutes left, and they just slowly marched down the field, ran the clock out, got a bunch of late third and fourth down, first downs that just kept draining the clock. And I think that sucked. If it would have been where they would have gotten that field goal, the Eagles would have gotten the ball back with a minute left, and maybe Hurts would have made a few plays and it just would have stalled and we lost that way. You would have said, okay, morale victory. Right. And I think that's the case this week as well. The morale victory, it depends on how it ends as a whole.
How it plays out.
Yeah, how it plays out. But it definitely could play out that way for sure this week.
Okay, yeah, because that was kind of my thoughts too. But I don't know, just this Broncos team, they're very interesting because they started off 3-0. When I make power rankings every week, 1 through 32 on What the Football, and I used to put them really high. Like I had them close to the top 10, and I always got bashed for even like the comments and my co-host Chance bashing me. And you look at them after that, they lost 3 games straight, and I was like, oh my gosh, now they're winning again.
Yep,
they're a very flip-flop team, but I've
been called a flip-flopper a few times too. I'm sure they're not watching right now. All right.
I'm sure you've been called much worse, Phil.
No, I have been called much worse. I've been called much worse than that just today alone. Guarantee it. Just probably in the first 5 hours of my day, I will be called much worse than that.
Oh yeah,
that's a whole other subject. Again, this is Trending in the AM on DSM Media, brought to you by Manscaped. Make sure you use promo code Trending at checkout at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. We're going to transition a little bit here. I'll get the Eagles background off. I'll put our show logo back there again. Again, today's Veterans Day. Again, a special shout out to all veterans that are out there and watching. We greatly appreciate all your service and support of our country. We couldn't do this podcast if it wasn't for the sacrifices that you make. And yeah, I'm going to plug my pizza shop, Fox's Pizza, because today, all veterans, if you come into my pizza shop in Kennett Square, free pizza on me. I'll shake your hand. I want to give you as much thanks as I can, the little things I do. So come on out to Fox's Pizza. All veterans, free pizza today. All right, talk Sixers. Raptors tonight at home. End of a 3-game home trip. The last game before a huge 6-game road trip. And a little glimmer of hope came out late yesterday afternoon, early evening. Tobias Harris was upgraded to questionable for tonight's game. Even if he's available to play, do you think Tobias Harris, after missing, like a week and a half of games, after a really bad case of COVID, can even be effective tonight?
I think it'd be effective. I think any person joining the 7-man rotation would be effective at this point. But yeah, depending on how he is, I probably wouldn't play him regardless. I think you just let him sit out the rest of the homestand, and if he can be back for that entire road trip, that'd be great. Maybe just give him a little bit more rest to make sure he's 100%. If he's not 100%, I wouldn't play him. And I know we only have 7 people, but again, it's early in the season. We can always make up for these games. So putting Tobias out there, it could just get him feeling uneasy again. And if I don't know, we need Tobias fully healthy. He's one of those guys that we need healthy for the full year. So if he feels even a little bit under the weather, don't play him. It's fine. This Raptors team is still a game that is winnable, even for our 7-man rotation.
The Raptors are kind of like you said about the Broncos. The Raptors are not a great team, but the record says that they're middle of the pack. They're 6-6 at this moment. So I was going through their team stats and all. It's kind of like I don't even know reading. Like I was going through player stats. Like I know he's been hurt, but Patrick Siakam not playing well in his 2 games. Fred VanVleet's shooting percentage down. OG Anaboy, or however you say his name, stats down for the year, shooting down for the year. A lot of these guys are not having great starts to the year, but they're winning.
Exactly. And that's kind of what, just like you said, great comparison to the Broncos. You don't understand really why they're winning so much, but they just were. And you don't really understand it. And the Raptors are just like that. You can kind of say it with the Sixers too, though. If you look at us and be like, dude, they have 7 people in and they won a couple games. Like, what is going on? You got Tyrese Maxey playing 45 minutes. You got Thibault playing. You're like, what is going on? Yeah. So again, it's a very winnable game. Tobias, I wouldn't play even if he says he's 100%. Sit him anyway. Let him sit out the rest of the homestand, and hopefully he'll be fully 100% by this entire long road series that we're going to go on over on the West Coast.
I'm completely opposite of you. Even if he's 85%, I say you play him, but you don't play him his typical 38 minutes or what you've been doing with 45 minutes with Furkan and these guys. Unfortunately, you need another guy. You've been playing Danny Green on a bum hamstring the last 2-3 games. So unfortunately, because you're short-handed, you kind of have to at least run him out there for 20-25 minutes tonight. You start him. You put him on a minutes restriction. You start him.
Yeah, definitely restrict him if you're going to put him in.
You let him sit out the rest of the first quarter. You put him in for 5 or 6 minutes in the second quarter. You see how the game flow goes also, if you need him or not. But you can't keep putting all these guys out there for 45 minutes every single game, because by the time we get to the West Coast, these guys are going to be burned out. They really are. And the one thing that the Raptors do well is play defense. They're a really tenacious defense. You're not going to be able to rely on Tyrese Maxey to put up 31 points and play 40-plus minutes. Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr., they're really good, gritty, tough, in-your-face defensive players. And I think that, I'm not going to say you're going to see a regression in Tyrese Maxey because one game, a better defender. That's not what it is. But you're not going to be able to have the same kind of results from Maxey, especially after all these minutes with this team playing defense. So you're going to need somebody else to step up. So Furkan Korkmaz, you can't go 2 of 18 again, but you also can't play him 45 minutes or you're going to have 2 of 18 game again from him. So you need somebody else to step in there and play 20 minutes tonight, even, 25 minutes even. And Tobias Harris, if he's cleared health and safety protocols, you're going to have to give him some form of a run tonight.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at the schedule for the next couple of games, I actually wouldn't be that upset about him playing. Definitely restricted. I don't want him playing them long games. But now that I see, like, we play today and then tomorrow is a day off and then we play on the 13th. And then you got 2 days off in a row before we play the Jazz. So they're going to get some decent time in between a lot of these games, like a couple of days during most games. So I wouldn't be too upset. Again, if Tobias is really restricted, just like you said, I don't want him playing these 38, 40 minutes like these other guys. But getting 20 to 25 minutes, it could just get him back into the mix of things. I don't think it would just tire him.
You also have to see, he'll come to, if he's cleared protocols, he'll come to work out this morning or this afternoon for shoot around, and they're probably going to put him through a pretty strenuous, like, respiratory test, because that seems to be the thing for all athletes that get it, that they come back and they still have some breathing issues. I'm not sure if I ever had COVID. I think I did way back in the very beginning, before it was even a thing, back in February 2022 or 2020. And I had breathing issues for weeks on end. And I'm not an athlete. So I can only imagine the conditioning that they need to be in to play in a professional game. So I'm sure they're going to put him through quite a breathing stress test today when he comes to shoot around. And that'll determine whether he plays. It won't be whether he's, his legs are ready or, his shots ready. It's going to be how his breathing is, basically, is what it's going to come down to, and what his endurance can handle. But yeah, I mean, this Raptors team, again, like I said, for a 6-6 team, a team that's not supposed to do much, based off of how they did last year. They're still rebuilding this team. You know, they push the pace really well. They play really tight defense. Their shooting's been down this year from some of their star players, but they've also been injured a lot. So it obviously shows that they're a well-coached team. So, you know, my hope and hinge for tonight is it's another team that's on the second half of a back-to-back. They played the Celtics in Boston last night. They lost that game. They actually got beat pretty handily. I think they lost by like 15. I think it was like 105-88, something like that. We just got to hope that, you know, back-to-back road games, you know, has them as worn out as our team is. And that to me is how you start to build up the confidence to have a win tonight, is that, it's the last day at home. This team's tired. Let's just push it for one more game. Like you said, after today, 3 of the next 4 nights off. They only have one game in the next 4 days. Hey guys, you'll get your rest. Yeah. Let's dig deep one more time. You know, by the time we get the next game by the time we get to Utah in 5 games or 5 days, 6 days, you might have Joel back. You might have Isaiah Joe back. You may have Matisse. Matisse and Isaiah Joe went into protocol the same day as Tobias, where Joel went 2 days later. So these reinforcements are on their way. Exactly. Whether it's in Indiana or Utah, more players will be back. Dig deep one more time, guys. That would be my message as Doc Rivers. Dig deep one more time. Let's just push forward one more time. And, you know, hopefully that's the way that they can pull out a victory, because you don't want – I know early in the season victories, you know, games don't necessarily matter as much as late in the season or the playoffs, but you don't want to drop 3 in a row.
No, you don't.
That's a bad feeling as a team, no matter how short-handed you are, is 3 games in a row all at home.
That's exactly what I was about to say, all at home as well.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow. That's a tough pill no matter how short-handed you are to sell to fans as well.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. So they're definitely going to be put to the test again tonight. No matter who you face with the 7-man team, you're going to be put to the test. But again, a very winnable game. Just like you said, these guys dig down deep, and you know they really want it, because they've been doing this for the past couple games, and you see how much heart they're still putting on a show. Like, even if you went into the games, like, they are still putting on a show for everyone, keeping games close. But I don't want to keep on saying keeping games close. I want to see a Sixers win. The Sixers need a win tonight. And end off this little home stretch with a win, and get some confidence going into this long road trip again.
Yeah. I mean, can you almost consider it it's an important win tonight? It's not a must win. No game in an 82 season is a must win game unless it's the last game of the year to get in. But it's as close to a must win game in the early quarter of the first quarter of the season as you can have, because again, dropping 3 games, you don't want to do that.
It can bring your morale down so much. It could bring down some confidence to those guys. You know, you don't want to see Shake Milton go back down to last year. Shake Milton, just losing confidence and everything. And these guys might feel like, hey, I'm playing 40 plus minutes and we can't win when I'm on the court. Like, what's going on? I don't know what's going on in their heads. Hopefully they don't think like those other ways, but that just stuff like that can affect them, and it can lose their confidence and so much more. So I think a win would be huge, just for the morale of this team, really, just for mostly the morale. I think they'd all feel really good going into this long road trip with a win.
So here's my final question on tonight's game. If Tobias Harris is ready to play and start, who do you put on the bench? So last game we had Maxey, we had Shake start, we had Furkan start, we had Andre Drummond, and I believe Danny Green was the other starter. Right. So I mean, you're not playing a traditional 5-4-3-2-1 lineup with those guys. You know, you had a lot of guards and small forward type players out there, very small ball lineup. So you're kind of throwing the traditional lineup out the window with this squad with all the players out. So Tobias, I was doing some read up on the game before the show, and a lot of people had Shake and Furkan still in the starting lineup, and Tobias starting over Danny Green. Yep. Is that the way you would go, or would you bench Shake or Furkan to start the game? And mind you, benching one of these guys is not saying you didn't do a good enough job. It's just saying that, I want X player on my bench versus Y player on my bench. You're all going to be playing 30 minutes anyway, so it's not an indictment on the player itself of a bad game. It's just rotationally speaking, how would you play it out?
So if we're looking to play Danny Green the same amount, that makes it a little bit more tough, because I know Danny Green is still playing a little bit with an injury. So if we were to start Tobias over Danny Green, maybe he plays a little bit less minutes, that would be my main reason. But if I were to do it for rotational purposes, I'm probably taking out Shake. I think taking out Shake would be a good idea because I think having him on the bench, then he gets to lead his his little squad on the side.
Yep.
I think that would work out better. But if we're doing it for injury purposes, like Danny Green might need some time off, or he doesn't play 40 minutes. I think taking Danny Green out for a little bit longer would be beneficial to him and just for the rest of the team.
I get that, but I'm with you. I'm putting Shake on the bench.
Yeah.
And I'm starting Tobias Harris. Even if Danny Green's only going to play 20, 25 minutes, I think you need his defense more than you need Shake's offense with the starting unit. At this point, when everybody's healthy, I think it's time to put Danny Green on the bench and start Matisse. But at this moment with this team, I think you got to put Shake on the bench because, excuse me. Yeah, I mean Shake and Maxey, I think side by side for a few minutes here and there work, but I think they do too much of the same thing. They're okay shooters, great drivers of the ball. Neither are true point guards in the sense of distributing the ball and high assist totals. Neither of them are huge defensive players. They both put effort on the defensive end. But neither of them are Ben Simmons level lockdown point guard defenders or anything like that. So I think you need the Danny Green defense, and you need Shake and Maxey split up a little bit more frequently as the season goes along. So that's the way I would go with it as well. And honestly,
I'm with you.
If you're not going to bench Shake, I would bench Furkan also. Because, again, he's a guy that can get hot off the bench. He's not going to be a starter once everybody comes back, no doubt about it. Honestly, as the season goes on, he's earned minutes in rotation, but he's honestly an 18 to 20 minute minute a game guy. So his spark that he could bring on, you fall behind by 5 or 10 points, you bring him in off the bench, he gets hot, he lights it up, he energizes the crowd. So I would even bench Furkan before Danny Green in this specific game.
Right.
But again, we don't know if Tobias is going to play anyway, and we might be going with all 5 starters the same as last game.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. And Andre Drummond will get another 20-rebound game.
I would even consider starting Paul Reed again. Let him go up against Siakam, another long guy. He's nowhere near as talented as Giannis, but a similar built type player. Let Paul Reed start and play defense against Patrick Siakam. His numbers are really down, but people don't realize he missed most of the season so far. He's only played 2 games so far, so he's just getting his legs under him. So Siakam is a guy that can definitely get right really quickly. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the game goes tonight.
Hey, when are we going to put Springer in? When are we going to let Springer play? I can't
believe he didn't play last game.
He hasn't played at all. I've been so shocked.
So I was thinking about this before the game. I didn't think you were going to bring it up, but Doc said before the last game, he was asked in his press conference after shoot around press conference, what did you tell the young guys that might get into the game? The Springers, the Bassies, whoever the other guy is. I forget who the third guy is that they had called up from the Blue Coats. But what did you tell him? And he said, when you get your chance, don't screw up. So, but then he didn't put any of them in. He put Bassie in for 5 minutes or 4 minutes. The other guys didn't get in the game. That tells me that he does not like the development of these guys from training camp to preseason games, what he's seen in the Blue Coats, and then he's had them the last couple days in Sixers camp practicing and shooting around. He obviously has zero confidence in these guys. Even with a 7-man rotation, he has zero confidence in these guys.
Yeah, might worry some people.
Hey, Springer, I mean, you draft him in the 20th something pick or whatever it was. He didn't look great in the Vegas Summer League and stuff like that.
Right.
What do you expect out of a young kid in the 20th pick? These aren't guys that are supposed to be superstars instantly.
No.
They're developmental projects. And unfortunately, it's just that we are in a situation where we needed somebody. We don't have them. But, yeah, I mean, it says that these guys aren't ready to play. Not at all.
It's just always exciting to see the rookie play. You know what I mean? I would just love to see him out there just for a little bit. They just put 7 guys.
What else did you have to lose?
Yeah, exactly. What's really gonna happen? Throw him in there for 5 minutes. I think the crowd sees Springer on the court. Everyone's gonna get hype and
makes his first professional bucket. The crowd goes crazy. The bench goes crazy.
Yeah,
everybody starts supporting him and all. Yeah,
I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would be awesome. I still doubt it happens.
No, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, he'll be there tonight. He'll be there dressed tonight as well. Because you gotta have a certain amount of guys on the bench. He'll be there. If he didn't get in last game, if Tobias is back today, there's no way he gets back.
Definitely. But if Tobias is out, probably more of a chance because maybe they're even more tired.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I would really love to ask Doc why he did not give him sunburn in the last 2 games. When
you're probably spot on with what you said, honestly.
Yeah, it's obviously something he sees in practice that he's just not ready. He doesn't understand the NBA rotations, It probably comes down to more so on the defensive side of the ball than the offensive side of the ball. Because on offense, you've got Maxey, you got guys that can create their own shots. Even if you put Springer out there for 5 minutes, he's not going to be required to really force up shots because you've got guys that are stepping up in the absences of Joel and Tobias. It's got to be on the defensive side when they're in practice and the rotations, what he sees that he doesn't think Springer can handle, the assignments that he would be given on the defensive end of the ball. That would be my opinion.
Right. No, I'm with you. I understand. I think I'll just say it's spot on. I don't think I even have to ask Doc. I think because I can't really think of any other reason why not, and that it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So do they win tonight? I say if Tobias plays even 20-25 minutes, I think they win double digits, wrap up the homestand with a win, whether it's about 12 points, something that 11, 12 point range. If Tobias doesn't play, it's going to be another nail biter, and it's going to come down to who's got the freshest legs, the Raptors on the second half of a back-to-back, or us shorthanded playing a lot of minutes. I think that having the 1 day off yesterday, not much going on at the NovaCare complex yesterday. Nobody really practiced or anything like that, or no intense practices. So they might have slight rest in their legs there. So I see the Sixers pulling out a close one if Tobias doesn't play, winning by double digits if they do play. I don't know how you see it playing out.
No, the same way if Tobias plays, I think it's a pretty handled win, even if he plays like a lot limited, like you said. But yeah, if he doesn't play, it's going to be a nail-biter, a game that we could keep close and possibly get a win, or it just like – this is like what we said with the Eagles game where it could be a flip-flop just by a couple points. I could see either team just winning by a couple points. It's going to come down to the last couple plays if Tobias doesn't play. If Tobias does play, I think it's handled. More guys to get rest. Just having another guy there, just more guys get rest, and they'll just be able to play better. And hopefully Furkan will do better than 2 for 18. That is my that's my main thing.
Do better than 2 for 18.
You have to.
And he's got to because Tyrese Maxey's not going to put up 31.
No, he's not.
So Furkan's got to pick up some slack because Maxey's going to come back down a little bit. I'm not trying to talk bad on Maxey.
No.
Maxey's unstoppable, unbelievable right now, but you can't expect him to be that good for that long a time, and for that long of a stretch, especially like I said, Van Fleet, Gary Trent Jr., good defensive players. Scotty Barnes, their rookie, is also playing really well. So, it's somebody else to watch out for. All right, last thing we're going to talk about. I was going through, as I'm doing every single morning before the show, I go to ESPN.com, I read their headlines, and there's a Scott Boras article. And he was, he's at the GM winter meetings right now that are going on. And they were talking a little bit about the potential looming work stoppage that might come up soon. I think it's December 1st in baseball, which actually I want to spend some time next week on one of the shows talking about all the different things that are going to come up, in renegotiating the labor agreement with baseball and the Players Association. I think it's a really interesting conversation, some really interesting topics and rule changes and stuff like that that could come out of it. But first off, what are your thoughts on Scott Boras, the agent?
Well, I mean, he gets all the good players. Just everyone comes to him. Anyone that he really wants, he can go out and get because he has the name of Scott Boras. Just plain and simple. So all he has to do is go out there and be like, "Hey, I'm Scott Boras." Like, all right, yeah, sure, you're my agent. That's fine. So he's kind of he's a legendary agent. But I don't know too much about Scott Boras. I just know that he is he's an agent that has some of the most high some of the some of the best players.
Yeah, and he's a shrewd businessman, and he gets maxed out. He tells his players to hold out to the last possible second. Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, he's right, and he gets the max dollars for his players.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter how old they are, end of their career or not. But he's also got quite the personality. So I was reading ESPN. I was reading this article this morning, and I want to read to you some of these quotes on some of his players, and some of the sarcastic. I call them descriptive words that he used. The adjectives he used, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read down some of my favorite ones. This is like one of those segments on like the Tonight Show where you're reading down jokes that you randomly pull from the internet and all. So on free agent slugger, and I might butcher some of these names just to be forewarned. Right. Nick Castellanos, is that how you say it?
It's Nick Castellanos.
Castellanos. Okay. Yeah. Here's his quote on Nick Castellanos. Okay. I kind of advised all of you like 2 years ago. St. Nick is going to bring a lot of presents, and frankly, we're going to have to watch which teams are naughty or nice. That's pretty bad right there. I mean, hilarious. Bad.
That is amazing.
All right. Chris Bryant, he compares to Sean Connery. He has Bond-like abilities in the middle of the lineup. He's always red hot in the hunt for October, and he's an extraordinary gentleman in a league of his own.
Oh my gosh, he's
you
great.
might not even know. Have you seen the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? He's got Hunt for Red October in there. He's got Bond. That one's great. I love that because I'm a big Bond guy as well.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not a big fan of the Carlos Rodin one, so we're going to pass that. All right, Michael Conforto. He has become the king of queens in New York, but in free agency now, he's the ace of many GMs' hearts. And then he comment, I would characterize as a blowhard in a house of cards.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's good though.
Yeah,
like,
it's
good.
I like the king of queens to the ace of hearts.
The ace,
like that
is
the blowhard, the house of cards. Yeah, I mean, I was always that guy. If my brothers were building like a tower with the cards, I'd blow it or throw something at it or jump on it and drop an elbow on it just to mess it up on them. That was me. I was the a-hole growing up like that. But that's that one. All right, we got Corey Seager. He's like a rock. That's why they named him Corey. No, don't get that one.
I don't get it.
Yeah, it has something to do with like a rock, Chevy trucks and stuff like that.
Oh,
yeah,
I missed that one.
Seager, because the song in the Chevy commercial was Bob Seger.
Okay.
So,
all right.
It
makes you think.
You're a little young for your Bob Seger, to be a Bob Seger fan, All right. So Trevor Siemian, okay, or Seaman. I don't know. Siemian. We're gonna say Siemian.
Wait, is it Marcus Siemian?
Yeah, Siemian. All right.
Okay.
He brings a charge to the batter box. Like it insulates it. He's a modern day Siemian conductor. I don't know my electricity really well.
He's really trying it. He's really going for it.
He's going on and on these here. I'll go back to it. I don't like the Carlos Rodin one because I don't really get it. He's not from him not getting a qualifying offer from the White Sox. He says it was created to weigh down free agents. I don't know. Is there something there with Rodin that has to do with weights? I don't know.
I don't know.
But he really tried really hard. With all
I respect it.
Yeah. Which one of those do you like the best?
Oh, it has to be the Marco Conforto one.
Yeah,
I like the Ace of Hearts. That one was really good.
I like the Sean Connery reference. For that's just because I'm a big Connery fan. Great James Bond with Chris Bryant, and obviously the Saint Nick. That's
that one's great.
It's
too.
Cute. He also made a joke. I can't find it in the article where the Mets just need to find a GM that's willing to live in New York City. Actually,
really, he made a joke. Oh,
because I mean they can't find their last GM wouldn't live in town. So
no.
I think he where was he? Was he in LA or he was wherever he was?
Yeah, he was away.
Running the club from across the country.
Yeah, and he was. I'm pretty sure he's a guy that was not a very good person. We'll just say.
No. Well, that as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, the article, if you check it out, does dive deeper into some of the stuff with the work stoppage that's pending or looming. We're gonna get into it next week. But from what I can tell and read, and my theory, like that I'm formulating in my head, there will be a work stoppage.
Yeah.
But it will not affect any games or even spring training next year, in my opinion. There will be the stoppage in December, maybe into early January. They'll wrap it up after the holidays. And then the rest of free agency and trades and stuff like that will happen. Spring training will start right away. And I don't think it's an issue going into next season. Do you?
No. I'm kind of right with you. I think everything's gonna be fine. Yeah, there will be a little bit of a stoppage, but yeah, I'm pretty much right on with you.
Baseball, for as many strikes as they've had and work stoppages in the past, they've pretty much been able to resolve all their issues without stopping or missing any games or camps or anything like that since 95. That I think actually baseball has the longest stretch now out of any sport without having any major work stoppages affect games now. Because basketball's had multiple in that time frame. Hockey's had multiple. Football had one. So baseball seems to have a really good working relationship with the league and the players, at least financially speaking.
Right.
And for as much as stadium revenue has dropped and people not going to the stands or whatnot, there's still more money being made in baseball now than ever before, and the players aren't gonna, and the owners aren't gonna give up on that, especially missing out on all of last year with fans and stands and stuff like that.
Yep.
They need the money, so they're not gonna let anything stop the season from starting on time.
No, 100%. I'm with you.
All right, one final time. happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there.
course.
A major salute to all of you. Again, like I've said twice already, third time I'm saying it. We wouldn't be able to do this morning show or anything we do in life without you guys and the sacrifices you make, guys and girls. I didn't mean it, guys. It's you all. Yeah, I'm
Right.
using that. I just want to throw out somebody's going to come at me that I said guys. You know what I mean? That's not what I meant. Happy Veterans Day to all of you. We greatly appreciate it. Stop by my pizza shop, Fox's Pizza in Kennett Square. Free pizza on me. I'd love to meet you all. Come on out today on the house. Again, special thank you. This is Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media every morning, 8:30 a.m. Tomorrow, we got Coach Coleman, head coach of the Wyoming Mustangs. Again, this guy's been coaching in college or above ranks since 1994. This guy's got so much experience. I told him about a 20-minute interview tomorrow. I have a feeling it'll go 30 or 40 minutes. We'll see. I have a feeling he's just going to talk, and we're just going to listen and take notes because that's a wealth of knowledge that this gentleman has. So I'm really looking forward to that interview tomorrow. Trying to lock somebody to come on to talk some Flyers for the second half of the show as well. Tomorrow. We'll be back as always tomorrow at 8:30. Tonight, 9 p.m. I've got Trend or DFS no punt intended. We're going to be breaking down the Week 10 DraftKings slate of games for fantasy football. Make sure you're tapped into DSM Media on Facebook and YouTube so you can bring your fantasy football questions because we still can't see the questions on Twitter. So make sure you're subscribed and following on YouTube for all your questions for fantasy football. Jason and I will be joined by Hunter, new member of Team DSM. We'll be breaking it all down. Everybody have a great day. And by the way, again, Manscaped, promo code trending at manscaped.com. Support the podcast that you love by using promo code trending at checkout, 20% off and free shipping. Hey, I'm going to say go Birds, but instead I'm just going to say happy Veterans Day and a special thank you to each and every one of you. And we'll see you tomorrow morning, everybody.
Happy Veterans Day and go Birds.